Hey, what's going on, everyone? Christian from Radius, and today I am answering a question that I get all the time from first-time home buyers, and that's essentially, what does the home buying process look like, right? So, in this video, we're essentially going to break down navigating the home buying timeline, right? So from soup to nuts, whatever that saying means. But we're going to walk you guys through the entire process of how to buy a home, from pre-approval to credit commitment to appraisal, all the way to closing, right? So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so first up here on the list is we're going to check our finances, right? So this is where you, as the first-time home buyer, before you reach out to anyone, before you reach out to a lender, before you reach out to a realtor, you want to check your own finances, right? And you essentially want to check three things. You want to check your savings, your monthly payment, and your credit. So your savings, obviously you'll need some sort of down payment. Not always a down payment, but at least like closing costs and things like that, right? So you're going to have to part with some amount of money, right? So you want to check your savings, and you want to find out how much you are comfortable with spending, right? Is that 10 grand? Is that 50 grand? Because this savings can come from a regular checking account, like a checking account. It can come from a savings account. It can come from a 401k or other retirement account. And this down payment can also come from a family member or a friend or something like that, right? But essentially, you're going to want to have your savings in order, and you're going to want to figure out how much money you're willing to part with to buy this new home, right? Next on the list is monthly payment. Now, you're probably paying a rent payment, right, or something like that. You want to make sure, like, are you comfortable with that monthly rent payment? Can you pay more than that? For example, if you're paying $1,500 per month in rent, but you're saving a lot of money, are you comfortable with a $2,000 mortgage payment? So the next one on the list, monthly payment, you've got to go through your finances and figure out what you're comfortable paying for on a monthly basis, right? And then last up here, credit, right? And it's not just about credit score. While that is important, you want to make sure you have a decent credit score, but you want to make sure that there's nothing derogatory or not real on your credit report, right? So great ways to monitor your credit are Credit Karma is pretty good, and then I believe it's www.annualcreditreport.com. They will give you one free credit report per year, so you can go through your credit report and make sure that there's nothing erroneous on there, right? Make sure everything makes sense. So that's the first step, is for you on a personal level to check your own finances and figure out where you are. All right, next up here on the list is get pre-approved, right? So reach out to a bank or a mortgage lender. Hopefully it's reaching out to me, but you want to reach out to a lender, and you want to figure out what the lender can actually approve you for, right? Because you've sat down with your finances, you've figured out where you're comfortable, right? And now you want to make sure that a lender is comfortable with, giving you that mortgage or that monthly payment or that purchase price for that home, right? So getting pre-approved, it's not a lengthy process. Typically, it takes a couple days, right? You're going to need to provide documentation such as bank statements, pay stubs. We're going to need a copy of your credit history, which we get from the credit bureaus. But essentially, this will give you a better understanding of what the lender is allowing you to purchase, right? So it's a much better understanding of your financial picture. And also, you want to discuss what mortgage program is going to be best for you, right? Is a conventional mortgage better with a low down payment, or maybe you want to go FHA because your credit's a little shoddy, right? Or maybe you want to do a USDA mortgage or a VA mortgage because those mortgages don't have any down payment requirements. So that's another thing. Getting pre-approved, you'll figure out what mortgage program is best for you. And then lastly here, this lets realtors know that you're actually serious, right? When you're going to look at a home, you're probably going to have a realtor helping to show you around these different homes. That realtor wants to know that you're serious about buying a home and that you've taken the step of getting pre-approved, right? And down the line, when you eventually make an offer on a property, the sellers and the listing agent or listing realtor for that property, they want to know that you're serious as well and that you've already gone through the process of getting pre-approved, right? So pre-approve getting pre-approved is next on the list. All right, so next up here on the list, number 3 is find a realtor. Now, this isn't 100% necessary, but I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And these are the reasons why, right? So if you find a local realtor, they're going to help you navigate that local market, right? They're going to know the differences between the towns, between the school systems. They're going to know the different areas within a specific town, right? They're also probably going to know what towns have higher taxes, things like that. They're going to help you navigate the local real estate market. And then also, they're going to help you find homes that fit your budget and your criteria. And they're going to do this essentially by giving you access to the MLS, right? Now, the MLS, the multiple listing service, is where essentially a vast majority of the homes for sale are put into the system. And a realtor basically has access to all these homes, right? So they can find you a 2,000 square foot home with 2 beds and 1 bath in any town, USA, for $500,000 or less, right? And it's different than the MLS is much different than Redfin or Realtor.com or Zillow or one of those, right? The realtor can really help you narrow down your search to find the perfect home that you're looking for. And then we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit with this next one, but they're also eventually they're going to help you assist in negotiating the price of that property, right? So they're going to know if a home has been on the market, especially this market, if a home has been on the market for 2 months, maybe that thing is overpriced and you should offer a lower price, right? So they're going to help you in negotiating the eventual price of that property. All right, next on the list, this is the fun part. You start the actual house hunting process, right? Like I said, this is the absolute fun part. But there are a couple things you want to be aware of, right? So as you go out and you're looking at different homes, whether that's an individual showing, whether that's you're going to open houses or things like that, you want to work with your realtor and your lender to make sure 2 things, right? Number one, when you go see a home, you want to make sure that you qualify for that home from a financial, lending standpoint, right? So for example, if I, the lender, give you a pre-approval for $500,000, you don't want to be looking at $750,000 homes, right? Because you're not going to be able to qualify for that home. Now, also, you want to make sure the home qualifies. So what I mean by this is that you want to understand what kind of mortgage program you're in, right? And you want to make sure that that property qualifies for the home. For example, if you are in a regular FHA loan or maybe even a regular, conventional loan or something like that, if the home is a complete tear down and there's no kitchen, the kitchen's torn apart and there's no bathrooms in the home or something like that, that property is not going to be able to qualify for that mortgage, right? So you want to make sure that you can qualify from a financial standpoint, but also that the home qualifies for the mortgage as well, right? But again, this is the fun part. All right, so you've been out there looking at different houses. You've looked at a whole bunch, maybe 20 or 25 or maybe 10, and you finally found a property that you really like and you would like to make an offer on it, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down with your realtor, if you have a realtor, and that realtor is going to help you figure out what purchase price you're going to offer the sellers, right? And the realtor is going to do this based off similar homes in the area, right? So what are similar homes selling for? And then are there any repairs to this particular property that you need to take into account, right? So for example, if this home needs a new roof, you might want to offer 10 grand less, right? And then lastly, and probably most importantly in this market, is competitiveness, right? So how many other people want that property? Are you going to have to go over asking price in order to get this property? So next step, make an offer, and then your lender will issue you an updated pre-approval letter, again, that basically says, it shows the sellers and the listing realtor that you are serious, you are qualified for this home, and that is generally the pre-approval letter is going to accompany the offer that you make on this property. All right, moving right along here. So you got your offer accepted, right? Next on the list, again, this is kind of like the realtor one. This is not necessary, right? We as the lender, we're not going to make you get a realtor, and we're not going to make you get a home inspection. However, I highly encourage getting a home inspection, right? So the home inspection is going to protect you, the buyer, right? And during this home inspection, the home inspector is going to reveal any issues with the home's structure, systems, or any safety issues, right? So structure, the home inspector is going to make sure that the home is structurally sound or not. Also systems, so they're going to be looking at the heating system, the cooling system, the bathrooms, the toilets, the washer dryer, if there's something in there. So they're going to make sure the systems are either up to snuff, or maybe they only have a couple years left on their life, right? You want to know that stuff. And then of course any safety issues, right, that might come with this particular property. Now, if the home inspection does not go well, right, or there's some major issues wrong with the house, but you still want to go through with the purchase, this home inspection will give you, it'll give you a leg to stand on to start the renegotiation of the purchase price of that property, right? So if you get a home inspection, there's a ton of things wrong with the home, you might be able to lower the purchase price of that home. All right, so let's say you've done your home inspection, right? And whether there are issues with the property or not, you've still decided to move forward with the purchase of that home, right? Next step in the process is to secure your mortgage, right? Now, you're going to reach out to your lender. Hopefully it's me, but you're going to reach out to your lender and say, hey, we got an accepted offer. We've done the home inspection. Here's the offer. Here's the purchase price. Here's the address. Let's start getting a mortgage, right? So the first thing we're going to do as the lender is we're going to take that property and we're going to get an appraisal done, right? So we're going to reach out to a third-party independent appraiser. He or she is going to go to the property and essentially tell us how much the property is worth, which hopefully it's the same price as what you're paying for it, right? Now, while we're scheduling the appraisal and everything like that, we're gonna need the buyer, you, to provide some additional documents, right? So I know what you're saying. Oh, I've already given my pay stubs and bank statements. Well, all that's probably going to be outdated, and we're going to need new copies, right? So we're going to collect all the income and asset documents again, and then we're going to send all those documents, hopefully the appraisal. We're going to send that to the underwriter for your loan approval or commitment, right? And this is very important because the commitment basically says we, the lender, have reviewed the appraisal. We've reviewed all the documentation as far as pay stubs, and we are committed to lending you, the buyer, X amount of money to purchase this property, right? Commitment is very, very important. Next up here on the list, title. So the attorney is going to make sure that the title to the property is clear and insurable. This really isn't a big deal. Only, a small percentage of the time, there might be some title work that holds up the process, but it really doesn't happen that often. And then last here on the list is the closing disclosure. So this is essentially a 2 or 3 page document that we send to you, we the lender send to the buyer at least 3 days before you close on the home. And the closing disclosure is very important because it basically outlines exactly what you're paying for, all the fees, appraisal fees and title work and, lender fees and stuff like that. So it's a very, very important document. And like I said, you'll get it at least 3 days prior to the closing of your home. All right, last up here on the list, very exciting though. So the last step is closing day and moving into the property, right? So very important, usually the morning of your closing day, you are going to do what's called a final walkthrough, right? So you and your realtor are going to walk through the property the morning before your closing, and you're just going to make sure that everything is as it seems, right? So the seller has moved all their stuff out of the home. There's no last minute, water leaks or a tree fell in the home or something like that. So the final walkthrough is very, very important, and it's usually done the morning before the closing, right? So next up is the actual closing. That's where you will be seated, usually with a real estate attorney, and a stack of documents about 2 feet high. And the attorney is going to walk you through exactly what you're signing, right? So that's when you sign all those mortgage documents. And that's really when there's no backing out after you sign all those documents. That's where you're really, you're going to become the owner of the home. after you sign all those documents and after the attorney records it, right? And yeah, next is get the keys and then essentially call all those friends that have pickup trucks and help them have you move into the property. So that's pretty much it. All right, that's all she wrote. I hope you enjoyed the video of kind of, navigating the home buying process. If you did, I would love it if you can give it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel. What also helps my channel is if you subscribe to my channel. And then lastly, if you have a topic for another mortgage or real estate question that you want me to cover, please leave it in the comments below. And I would love to make a video. Other than that, I will see you later. Adios.